Please tell me none of this is actually going to be included.
No,
Oh,
it's
yes,
fine.
it will.
Yeah, all of it.
It's riveting.
It is.
Remember that.
Welcome, everyone, to Remember That. It's episode 62.
Yay.
Hang on, wait, we've got sound effects.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah. It's a whole studio audience. You didn't expect that. And joining us on today's episode is a brilliant, funny, talented man. He has been somewhat of a non-consensual career mentor. Like I have forced myself upon him and made him my career mentor over the years. He's given me guidance, love, support. He's taught me a lot. He's also my former employer and boss. It is the king of kids. He's a children's author. He's brilliant. It's Mick Elliot.
Yay, Mick.
It's very nice to be here, guys. Very nice to be here.
Thank you for coming on.
I mean, I can only feel that by, what did you say, ep 62?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ep 62.
You've invited me on because you've hit the bottom of the barrel.
Not yet.
The truth is, we just rarely get guests on purely out of laziness, because it was like when we were back in Sydney, we were like, oh, then they've got to come to our house, and then it's just a whole thing. And even
You got to clean up.
again, we got to clean up, and
clothes
even
on.
100%.
I mean, thank you for at least having your pajama pants on, Danny, which is a lot different than I can say when you're an employee.
Told you, it's really cold.
How many times did I have to call you into HR and go, look, Danny still is turning up for work.
In his PJs.
Pantsless.
It was
I know it's a 70s cartoon, trope that you got characters walking around just in little vests, maybe a hat and a bow tie.
He's Donald
But it's
Ducking
not
it.
appropriate.
How many
for the
cartoon
workplace.
characters? We worked at Nickelodeon. How many cartoon characters were pantsless? I was trying to,
That's a good question. And I sort of feel, which is probably on topic for the podcast, that the whole pantsless characters in animation is more of a 70s sort of Hanna-Barbera era. I do feel, and maybe SpongeBob was the trailblazer that
had
flipped that,
Well,
obviously
he
putting
was square
pants in
pants.
the title.
Oh, he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the... Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as well, because they were anthropomorphic, like animals, they really just lent to themselves into like, well, it's an animal, it's a duck.
But he had a shirt on.
But he had a shirt on. I know, he had a shirt on. Mickey Mouse was
Pooh
Mickey
Bear.
Pooh Bear. Was Mickey Mouse pantsless?
You.
Maybe in some of the early all ages animations.
I thought he was an overalls guy. No?
No, you're thinking of Goofy.
Oh.
Yeah, Goofy. Goofy had overalls, pants. Donald Duck was pantsless. Mickey, I think, had full attire.
Yeah, I mean,
Pants on
I was raised more on the Saturday morning Hanna-Barberas, which was, I mean, I don't know if you or any of your listeners would know this, but, Huckleberry Hound, Yogi Bear.
Yogi Bear. Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Scooby certainly was one of the OGs.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the Mystery Machine Gang had, obviously they were humans, they were clothed.
Yeah.
I mean, there are probably versions out there where they weren't. I haven't seen them myself, don't want to see them.
You saw enough of Danny.
So, Mick, I know you because you hired me at Nickelodeon.
Biggest mistake of my
I
life.
was going to
Fair enough.
of your life. You've done so
my life,
much
and,
other stuff.
It's a big call, but yeah, fair.
I invested in crypto as well.
but it goes Danny Giles up here. Look, it's fair. It's fair. I heard that apparently, I've never asked you if this is true, but apparently Cam said to me, our mutual friend Cameron.
Yes,
Cameron
who was also part of the interview process for those people listening, which would be 100% of your audience who weren't employed at Nickelodeon at the time in the interview.
Thank you for giving them the context. But apparently when I walked out of the room, you turned to Cam and said, yeah, hire him. Is that true or not?
I think the conversation went something like this. We're desperate. We need someone that can start immediately. Yeah. We've interviewed every capable person in the country. This guy clearly needs a break. So let's do this.
You did. That was the exact wording.
Yeah.
We're desperate.
It turned out okay. No. I'm jesting. And if anyone hasn't noticed that is listening, one of the things I've loved about working with you back in the day, Danny, is Danny's always open to a bit. And even if that bit is at Danny's expense, he will fully embrace that bit. And that's been one of the joys of collaborating with you over the years, my friend.
Oh, thank you, sir.
But no, we definitely there's something about this guy, Danny. You had been doing all sorts of absolutely out the YouTube videos. I think some of those videos had at least 20 or 30 views. And we went, this is the perfect guy to be our new digital producer.
Upwards of 20 views.
We are, and it was a weird, and I have promised Maddie we're not going to spend on the entire time talking about the industry and Nickelodeon.
Banned from talking about Nickelodeon the whole time.
But
Fair enough.
But what it is interesting to think about the job that I was hired to do versus like they had no idea sort of where the landscape was going, because effectively that role, and MTV did it as well, was basically we're going to hire someone to try and compete with YouTube to make videos to populate the website to try and get people to come to the website. And then some of the videos as well ended up on YouTube or whatever. But it's just like you think about that now and that's ludicrous. Like no company would do that. They'd be like, no, we'll just make money from the social media stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it at the time, to be honest.
Did you really?
I have to say, and hindsight is a great thing. But it was I mean, what year was that? Can you?
Yeah,
for our listeners?
2016 or 15.
2016.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
16,
know we're working for a traditional media company, a big TV broadcast brand, which exists in the particular market we worked purely as a subscription TV channel within the big subscription TV platform Foxtel. Suddenly YouTube has come along and everyone's watching YouTube, and so the solution driven out of various focus groups and marketing is let's try to make as many little bits of content that are just like the stuff that now a billion people can make in 20 seconds and put on YouTube. If we make some stuff like that, then people will come and watch it on our website. And
then we can generate money from our ad revenue and all that stuff.
My career, apart from hiring you, was probably sitting in a meeting with reams of marketing people saying, right, let's brainstorm a viral video.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
You know, it's so funny that you say that, because actually what got me the interview at MTV was I just randomly, because I interviewed originally at MTV, didn't get that, but then got Nickelodeon. But I made a video with my friend and it went viral. And so they were like, oh, he knows how to make stuff go viral. Like
he knows the magic formula.
That was the thinking of them back then. Was like you had one viral video. It's like, we've got to hire him. He knows what he's doing. It's like, or maybe I just got lucky like everyone else, you know?
It was back when viral was 30 views.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it was as someone that came up traditionally through writing and through the media, through a more traditional TV. I was going to say journey. Then I hate when people say journey, but process. Let's just call it that. It was really perplexing because I could certainly see that the writing was on the wall, and I could certainly see there's no way that people and kids are going to keep on tuning in on a Tuesday at 4:00 when there's just this absolute sea of content, and you can just flick through it if you don't like it. But also just that idea that, there's a magic formula. And if somebody knows that magic formula, if they've had some video, which is probably, someone falling over, somebody tripping on something, and suddenly it's got 10 million views. And great, okay, so people tripping over is really trending right now. So we're going to make people tripping over. That was, by the time you've made it, 19 other thing that's,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Interesting time.
And then this is the last thing I want to say before we jump into nostalgia and get away from this topic that's going to kill Maddie.
I don't know. This feels pretty nostalgic already.
Yeah.
For you guys.
or indulgent.
Yeah, indulgent, I think is the
Reminiscing.
But I was just going to say, like, it is interesting as well, like working, whether I've done freelance or in jobs I'm working these days, it's like, it is interesting that in brands and stuff, that is literally their whole model is just like, well, let's just hire people as creatives, and their job is essentially to just trawl through the internet and see what's trending and just copy that.
Yeah.
And it's like people are getting paid to do that. That's crazy as creatives. It's it's wild, man. It's depressing. I mean, we've had many conversations about like the state of the industry and where it is and how fucking depressing it is.
Yeah. I mean, I've recorded all of those as well.
Me too.
As evidence.
Yeah. So Mick, the podcast is about nostalgia, and what we like to do when we get our guests on is we like to just take them through the journey of childhood and what is nostalgic for them. So I guess to open it up, growing up, did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, so I was the youngest of three brothers. I grew up at an area of Sydney called the Hills District, which nowadays is extremely built up, but back then was part of the rural farm belt of Sydney.
Yeah.
So over our back fence, we had horse paddocks, and then beyond that, if you managed to get through without being kicked by a horse, you were out into bushland.
Wow.
So two older brothers, but there was quite an age gap. So my two older brothers were only 18 months apart, and then there's about a 4-year gap to me.
Yeah, wow.
They were both very sporty. They were, obviously being older, they did everything together, and that left me, little, imaginative younger brother, playing with Lego, watching TV all day long, drawing, all of those things.
Yeah, that's crazy. What do they do now? So they went a different. They're not creatives, I guess.
No, I mean, they're both really, really creative people, and love my brothers. Sadly, they both live, one's interstate, one's overseas. One is now a coroner in New Zealand, and one is now a lecturer of nursing down in Melbourne. And,
wow.
So very, very different, and in many ways, because my family background, my dad initially trained as a GP. He became a psychiatrist.
Wow.
My mum was a registered nurse.
All medical. Wow.
All medical.
Yeah. And then Mick's
which is
like,
and then I come along.
Time to disappoint you all. Yeah, wow. So what school did you go to?
Do you know what's funny about these questions is I sort of feel like maybe this whole podcast is a long con to get details to steal my identity. And,
you're writing it down, right? Yeah.
Well,
we're recording it.
and your mother's maiden name.
Damn it, you beat me to it. I was going to go. And Mick, wow, really interesting about your mum. What's her maiden name? What was her name?
What was the name of your first pet?
Yeah, your
And the first car you owned?
Yeah. Mick, I'm just going to go shot in the dark. What's your fucking password, please? Can you just... this will expedite this process.
No, so I went to a little Catholic primary school called St. Bernadette's.
I remember you went to a religious school. We've talked... Yeah, I feel like we've had conversations about this. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Real hectic Catholic primary school? Like, were you doing mass? Were you doing like the whole lot?
So the interesting thing about the school was that the bus trip to the school collected us all from the various suburban streets in the hills there, and on the bus, as well as all the St. Bernadette's kids, was all the public school kids as well. The front of our school, the street front of the school, actually was the church. So the church was there, and then behind the church was all the classrooms and school hall and that sort of thing. However, to all the public school kids who stayed on the buses we were getting off, they would all say, you go to school in a church. Your school's a church, because they didn't know that beyond that was all the classrooms. Yeah.
Did you get bullied for it?
Do you know, I think we were always a little bit scared and intimidated by the public school kids.
Yeah.
I think even then, even at a very young age, I think there was a sense of, hey, we're in a bit of a bubble here.
Yeah,
in this,
sure.
And it wasn't like it was at some big rich, it was just literally like a suburban Catholic school.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, there was definitely a sense of we're in a bit of a gilded cage of sorts here.
Yeah. Is your family religious, or was it just you went to that school because it was...
So they were from a very traditional religious background, but the classic thing where the grandfather always used to say the church would fall down if he went in there.
Oh wow!
But, very much that sort of post-war kind of thing where you went to church and that's what you did, but I hated going to church. There were things to watch on TV, and there was nothing worse on a Sunday morning, them being dragged out of bed. And the other thing was that we had this priest who was the parish priest at the church. He must have been pushing mid-80s.
Oh, no.
This Irish Catholic priest. And he was unintelligible.
Oh,
You couldn't understand it.
excellent.
No, so, and I can still remember it. So you'd be sitting there at the age of 7 going, oh man, I could be home watching
The
Sigmund and the Sea Monsters on TV. And Father Walsh would be delivering his sermon, which sounded something like
Yeah,
this.
please.
And then Jesus went, and then Jesus parted the sea, and this went for an hour.
You couldn't understand it.
God be with you all. That was literally what he sounded like.
It's painful.
Did you at that young age, did you give feedback to mum and dad being like, hey, we can't understand what the fuck this guy's saying?
But it was a joke. It was a
Yeah.
joke in the community. Oh,
Yeah.
Father
Oh.
Walsh, no one can.
Father Walsh.
I love that it was a
And,
joke. I love that everyone was across.
Everyone
we can't
knew.
understand
Yeah.
him, but we just put up with it as part of it. Like, what are you getting out of church at
part
that
of it.
point?
Well, because I mean, look, that's the whole conceit, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's your duty
Yeah.
to go to church every week
Yeah.
and sit in mass and
Yeah.
repent and acknowledge your lowly position in
Yeah.
God's kingdom. And if sitting there listening to an unintelligible man for an hour is your way of doing that, and then being able to walk into the week and go, yes, now I'm
good.
Now I'm freed from my sins of, lusting after a chocolate bar or whatever I would do at that age.
That's so funny. I love the idea of you getting to the pearly gates and then getting denied, and you're like, I listened to Father Walsh every weekend. Every
I
weekend.
gave up Sigmund and the
Are you
Sea
kidding
Monsters
me?
for this.
I gave up Sigmund and the Sea.
We're going to have to watch that. I've never seen it.
Yeah,
Well, it's amazing. And you got to remember, this is all pre-VCRs as well. So VCRs didn't come in.
Wow.
And we got our first VCR when I was probably 12 years old. So
oh
there was
my
no recording.
gosh.
If you missed a
Wow.
show, that was it.
Missed it.
So that was if so Saturday morning, I imagine that was a big that's dedicated Mick time. Like you've got to.
Yeah. So, if we're talking pop culture, so after school, obviously, and again, for any of your listeners that are too young for this, this was all pre-YouTube, pre-internet,
Yep.
pre-pay TV,
How
pre
old are
any
you?
form of being able to record and capture.
It's not that.
Content.
It's not
Mick's
that.
like 170.
No, it's not
I'm
that.
100 million years old.
It's not. It's not
So,
that.
and,
It's not
and I mean,
that.
to be honest, a big part of a
race, you know?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
No,
go
go
for
for
it.
it.
A big part of a Sunday was after Mass. We would go to the news agency, which was one of the only shops that was open on a Sunday because
Yeah.
it was sacrilegious to trade on a Sunday. Jesus stormed into the temple to tell you not to do that.
Yeah.
You'd go to the news agency, you'd buy the 2 Sunday papers, you'd read the Sunday comics, but more importantly, you would pull out the TV guide and you would spend an hour pouring through every column, channel 10, 9, 7, ABC. What is on this week? Oh, wow. Hey, Friday night, there's a James Bond movie on.
Oh my gosh!
We can't go out Friday night, Mum.
You plan
Plan your week around the TV
Absolutely.
guide.
Wow!
Absolutely,
very
because
Kath
there
and
was
Kim.
no other way to access content. There was no other way to access pop culture than
Wow.
via the big boxy TV, which deemed what time things were on and when you could watch them.
I love that though.
So-
It made it so much more special, didn't it? You know, it's like
I mean, I think that the big difference is that, now we can have anything immediately.
yeah,
So you want to watch that movie, bang, there it is. You want to listen to that song, bang, there it is. This
Yeah.
was an age of having to wait.
yeah,
Just having to wait and hope. Are they going to play that song I love on the radio?
yeah.
Is that TV show I love going to be on again? Is that movie that I really, heard is really good? Is that going to be on Sunday night?
Yeah.
And you would wait and hope. And heaven forbid if you missed it or if you had to go out to some family friend's house that night, you'd be like, no, but I want to watch Willy Wonka or whatever
Yeah,
it was.
I wonder if as well, I've never thought about this, but I wonder if that anticipation really glorified the experience. Because if I think about it now and you think about like stuff comes out and people review it and they're so harsh with it about stuff. They're so like, oh, it was all right. Or, oh, it was this. But like back then, you know what I mean? Maybe it was just like, that was amazing because I hadn't watched it. Like, I don't know.
I think that's absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And absolute that anticipation. And also, I mean, look, every generation ever has always claimed that their experience of childhood or whatever it is better than the generation that followed. And that's a
Definitely.
complete, it's nothing more than that was your experience. But what I would say, and you hear this a lot now in the age of streaming, you hear this a lot now since the age of cinema is really seems to be coming to an end. When you had one TV, one TV in your house, it was
Yeah.
a big bit of furniture, and if there was a show on that everyone wanted to watch, it was absolutely a communal experience. It was
Yeah.
absolute. Everyone would be sitting there watching that thing
Yeah.
on a Friday night, or heaven forbid that there was two things on different
Yes,
channels.
I was gonna say.
You got to switch.
And it was a fight. It wasn't even a
Right.
fight for the remote. We didn't have a remote. This was turn the knob on the TV. So it made you value. It made you absolutely value. It's like if that movie came on and it wasn't that good, but you lobbied to watch it, like, no, it is. It's
You
great.
No,
You'd have
awesome.
you'd have to
you
make your
can't back
case.
down. I got to say, like, we go to hers for her mum's house in Tamworth for Christmas, and it's like that's one of my favorite things is we all sit down every night and watch a movie together, and it's just like,
Well, we do fight about it as well.
oh, and you guys take 45 minutes to actually pick something.
We do.
And her mum does this thing, Mick. You'll love this. We've actually we've coined the term "bething it," which basically she'll put on a movie, and I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating. 2 minutes in, she'll sit there and she'll just be like, "Oh, I don't know. This one's not very good, is it?" Well, just or she'll get distracted. She'll look at it and she'll go. Like the opening credits and goes starring Ryan Reynolds, and you go, Ryan Reynolds, he's in that other movie, isn't he? Oh, the one with Sandra. Let's put that on instead. Let's put that on.
She does.
It's this journey. It's actually my favorite part, watching her mum take us through this journey of 30-second into like little bites of different movies before she can just sit still and go, okay, this is what we're watching.
This is what I want, yeah. And she's always the one with the
journey.
remote. She's in charge of the remote, so no
Okay.
one can kind of fight
And the
her on it.
sound as well. And during the
Oh, the
scary bits, she'll
sound.
turn it
She'll turn it
down.
right down.
Criminally low. She's like, this is a bit scary. And she basically mutes the TV. We have to sit there in silence.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's really like a live programmer and censor.
Yes.
Exactly.
But just
You-
to everyone in the room.
But her TV guide would be like 30 seconds of Jaws, like 30 seconds of just
Well, I don't
flicking
know.
over.
It just sounds to me like she's bringing a pretty standard, YouTube Shorts experience to traditional TV.
Yes, she is.
She's crossover. Yeah, she's swiping. She's
Like-
scrolling on the TV.
But it's about
essentially.
like 2 minutes of loading, when the Disney Plus logo coming up and like everything. It's so much.
painful. So, Mick, did you guys, like at school, did you guys arrange to watch whatever was going to be on TV on like Saturday or Sunday night?
Oh,
or
yeah.
something, so you could talk
Did
about
this
it
come
at
into
school?
schoolyard chat?
It definitely did.
Yeah.
And probably the best example I can think of, again, remember this is all pre-VCR. So VCRs really started to come into Australia. I mean, we got our first one when I was in year 7.
Yeah, wow.
I remember in about year 6, there might have been 1 or 2 people who had them.
Yeah.
But other than that, absolutely. And I can still remember when Star Wars, the original Star Wars, premiered
Yeah.
on Australian television.
Cute.
It was
Wow.
in 1984.
Wow.
So
That's
a lot of years
Is that
after.
10 years, 6 years after?
The first one came out in 77. So,
77,
we're
right.
talking 7 or so years afterwards.
Yeah.
And yeah, everyone was just hyped. So, okay, you're going to watch Star Wars? You're going to watch Star Wars on Sunday night? And
Yeah.
again, keeping in mind, Star Wars on a crappy box-shaped TV
Yeah.
with one little speaker.
But it's in your house,
ads
right? It's in
all
your
through
house. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But the one thing I can remember, as a family of boys, we did not watch. We had a show in Australia called Young Talent Time.
Oh, yeah.
Young
yeah.
Talent Time is a precursor to talent shows, but
Yeah.
it was sort of, I don't know. People in the US would probably know Solid Gold or Charlotte, but it was basically a group of kid performers, and each
Yeah.
week they'd do this hour performance of different songs and things. And
So,
Young Talent Time.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was like
It was
Australia's Got Talent, like that kind of vibe.
Kind of, but there was no competition element. It was literally just these kids.
Here they are
with this guy called Johnny Young,
Yeah.
who was like their sort of ringmaster of it all, and they would perform. They'd perform all these songs over one. It's like a variety show.
Yeah.
Different themes each week, and on the night that Star Wars premiered, preceding it was a Star Wars themed Young Talent Time episode where they all performed. That must be on YouTube somewhere, and I'm sure it would be amazing.
Yeah.
So
But that was a big deal.
They
It was a big
just
deal.
danced
Of course,
to the
we'll talk about it
canteen
the next
song
day.
or whatever.
Yeah. They sat around and talked about how good Star Wars was on the TV.
That was their
It was the
talent.
first podcast ever recorded. Just two young little kids. Oh my God, did you see that? Man, that's crazy. So
Someone was dressed as Jabba the Hutt. Sorry.
no. Well, taking it back to so you're at a Catholic school. Obviously, what we know about you is you become an amazing writer and television producer and all of that stuff. But what's sort of the journey from being a kid into that? It sounded like you were already building Legos and creating stuff. And was there any type of fostering that at this Catholic school, or were they just like, no, you're going to be an accountant?
You're going to take over
No, it
from
wasn't that
Pastor
strict,
Walsh.
thankfully.
Yeah.
No, and look, what was really apparent pretty quickly was that I loved to draw.
Yeah.
Really loved to draw, and any opportunity at school where I got the chance to draw, I had a natural
Aw.
aptitude for it.
Yeah.
And the school was really, really great. I mean, both primary school and high school, there was absolutely platform, but it was still just within a school environment.
Yeah.
It was, today we're going to make a big mural on the wall of an under the sea scene, for example. So
Yeah.
but I always felt like that was the most fun of anything, was those opportunities to do anything that was visually creative.
Yeah.
And it all really
actually,
started from there.
Do you know, I've got a drawing of yours on my wall.
That's from
From
you.
back then. That's creepy.
Yeah. It's one of your childhood.
One of your childhood.
It's actually a photo of one of your
Right.
And
murals.
Mr. Walsh is here. Come on in, Mr. Walsh.
Oh.
Hello,
Hello, Bosh.
Hang on a
I'm guessing
second.
that's a caricature, but it's funny. So
Yeah, go get it.
yeah, so nowadays I do a lot of workshops and things at schools, and when I do, kids often do ask, where do you start becoming an illustrator or an author? And I say it is at school. Like, it is absolutely at school that you start to develop those interests and those talents.
I love
Danny
that.
has I don't need to
Yeah.
describe this because this is on video, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got
You-
it all on video.
You drew this for me.
I didn't know that was by
I
me.
did.
You drew this for me.
It's so
When
cute.
you left Nickelodeon, you drew a caricature for a bunch of people. Not
Yes.
everyone.
I mean, there was like 40 people working there at the time.
But I think it was everybody that was under you. I think, like, everybody that kind of reported to you, I think.
Yeah, not physically under me, but everyone.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
But no, everyone that I'd worked with immediately, and yeah.
Also,
I
now
just wanted-
we know why you left, Mick. So.
Yeah. Because of me, yeah.
It's not because of everyone that was under him.
Yeah.
I don't endorse any of this. I opened the door to that bit though.
Yeah, you
You
did. You
did.
did. Yeah. And this is great. This is a great drawing, and I love this, and it's on my wall. I've put it on my wall.
Amazing. It's a drawing of Danny at the mic.
Yeah.
So you're a
You got to
stand-up
hold
talent.
it closer
Yes,
to
there we
the
go.
so people can see.
There we go.
There we go.
Danny.
So
We'll put it on
Danny.
the thing. Yeah.
So cute.
What did you think you were going to do when you were a kid? Did you have a dream? Were you like, this is what I want to do?
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. As I sort of got into the high school years, I really got really massively into the concept of a movie director.
Oh,
And
cool.
again, as VHSs came along, and
Yeah.
suddenly you were able to watch Jaws 100 times,
Yeah.
or watch E.T. or Star Wars or whatever it was, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's no surprise that the reason now that we have a bazillion different Star Wars properties is because all those people now that are approving what gets made at Disney, they all grew up at the same time as I did.
Yeah.
And the cultural impact of Star Wars and things like that were massive.
Yeah.
I just had this, I want to be a movie director. But I think more what I had was the concept of being that person on set that's getting to do creative things. I didn't actually really know what a movie director was. I'd seen people
Right.
holding clapperboards. I'd read books about Steven Spielberg and all that, but I
Mm.
didn't really know. But eventually, you know, when school was done, there were only 2 universities in Sydney at the time that had any sort of communications course. One of which was UTS, and then Macquarie University. I did that course at Macquarie, thinking naively that this suburban kid who had lived no sort of life or had any really real human experience, that I would end my degree and then someone would hire me to direct a movie.
I think I went through
I
that
knew
too, Mick.
nothing.
Don't worry. Was this before
So
AFTRS existed?
So AFTRS, the Australian Film, Television, Radio School, at
Yeah.
that point, you could only get into it as someone that actually had some industry experience.
Yeah,
The directing
crazy.
course
Yeah,
they
yeah,
had
yeah,
there,
yeah.
which actually makes a lot of sense because
Yeah.
they were actually more of like a platform for which people could continue to develop their careers.
Yep.
Nowadays, you know, AFTRS offers all sorts of courses
It's
for
more
people straight out
open.
of school. But
yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, uni was fun. We got to do lots of, you know, little filmmaking stuff. But again, it was a bubble. It wasn't in any way a reflection of the real world. And again, you've got to remember this is pre-internet. This is pre everybody having access to the tools to make anything. I mean, now
Yeah.
you can make anything on a phone or an iPad. You can edit it and it's ready to go, and you can upload it within 2 minutes. Back then, like, we didn't have access to cameras. We didn't have
Yeah.
access to editing equipment. You know, so what I pretty much started to do after uni, I'd managed to luck into just a part-time job at my local cinema. So that was great.
Oh.
And
Which
then,
worked at the
which
cinema?
is
I worked
brilliant.
at the cinema too, yeah. Hoyt's, Greater Union, which one?
It was Greater Union,
Yeah,
out
nice.
in Castle Hill.
What, Candy Bar?
Your
And-
competitor.
Or did you do the cinema checks? Or did you work on the Candy Bar?
let's talk working in a cinema back in the day.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Because, you know, nowadays you have 10-screen multiplexes that are
Yeah.
basically, you know, staffed by one person.
Yeah.
And it's all automated. But back then,
Yeah.
indeed, you could get a shift in the box office, which meant you sat there in that chair
Yeah.
selling tickets to people. You could get a shift in the candy bar,
Yeah.
serving up choc tops and cokes and all that.
Yeah.
Or you're an usher. And
Yep.
box office was the best.
You like
'cause
box
just
office?
sat there.
Because you got to sit in
Oh,
the
it was great.
seat. You got to
You
sit in the
sit there.
seat. Yeah.
You dispense tickets, you count the money after each shift. Candy bar was the worst.
I hated it. Yeah,
because
I hated
it was
Candy
the
Bar.
worst.
You're standing on your feet all day. Yeah.
On your feet all day, you're
Yeah.
getting Coke syrup all over you. People also come up thinking that a Coke is going to cost $3, and then you tell them it's $157 for a Coke and a popcorn.
Probably not back then.
It was.
Um,
I'm
Was
sure
it worse
was.
back then?
No, I just
Yeah. It was terrible.
It was
Yeah.
$1,000.
I mean, the only one joyous part of this is a deep cut, but the only one joyous part of working in a candy bar is that back then, this is before it was all self-serve, before all businesses outsourced the actual service to the customer. Back then, you get these guys that would come in there, will be like, you know, really these good blokey guys, and they come up to you and they just be really condescending to you because you're just, you know, we had to wear bow ties, we were like absolute tools.
Yeah.
You give us a large Coke and just be really arrogant towards you. And
yeah.
so let me tell you, I've never put so much ice in a drink.
Yeah.
You just go, scoop, and there'd be like 8 mils. They'd walk away and you just see them go, "Oh." I don't know, petty vengeance.
Oh,
Petty
yeah.
vengeance.
That's
really
great.
sticking it to the man.
That's great. Do you
Oh yeah, I showed them.
Do you remember? I loved Usher. I never got box office. All right,
Okay.
they wouldn't trust
Well,
me. They
They
wouldn't
didn't trust you to
me.
handle
No.
money.
No, they didn't trust me.
It's all
And
cash
then-
back then.
Yeah. But I loved being an usher because you got to do feature checks of the cinemas. And so
Yes,
you got
yeah.
to walk in and see like a tiny little bit
Watch
of the
a
movie.
bit of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You did
Well,
get to
I
see
mean, the best shifts really were during the day when it was super quiet. There'd be like 3 seniors in there, and you could effectively, you had nothing really to do as an usher.
Yeah.
And so there were movies that I saw 18, 19, 20. You might miss
Yeah.
a few minutes here and there.
Yeah.
This was, you know, early 90s. So films like 4 Weddings and a Funeral. I can't tell you how many
Yeah.
times I saw The Fugitive.
Yes.
Jurassic Park was out then. The
No
original
No
Jurassic Park.
way.
I saw those movies so many times.
Yeah.
And that beautiful big, you know, digital sound cinema. It was amazing. I mean, what a time to be 20 years old or 19 years old, and
Oh man,
it was the best.
Yeah, I remember there's certain like end credits songs that are like burnt into my brain. Like I don't know if you remember, but I think it was a DreamWorks movie called Over the Hedge. It was like 2000s movie. Yeah, Steve Carell's in it. Yeah, and they had like the end credits song. I get PTSD if I listen to it because I just remember walking in and out of the cinema so many times. It's rocking the steppers, me having to like clean and scoop up popcorn and shit. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, we just as a sidebar, we had a bit of an incident once because between sessions, there'd be music playing. They'd just pipe a CD, they put on some movie soundtrack, and what would often happen is that people would arrive early before the session, and they would actually open the doors. This was back before.
Is this open? They
sessions
say
were.
that. Yeah. Is this open?
Yeah, so people would come along.
Yeah.
And it'd be 10 minutes before the trailers started or the advertising, and they'd just be sitting there waiting for the session to start.
Yeah.
And there was an incident where, and as a staff member, you could say, "Oh, could you play this CD?" And they're all meant to be movie soundtracks. Somebody on the staff basically gave the projectionist the Pulp Fiction soundtrack CD to play as the the music that plays once the movie's over and the cinema's gone dark, and now we're just waiting for the next session.
Yeah.
The Pulp Fiction CD has dialogue excerpts from the movie. Yeah. And there's a sequence at the start of Pulp Fiction, anyone that's seen it, classic 94 movie, where basically
everybody get down, this is a robbery.
Stand up, everyone's a robbery, get on the ground, or we're going to execute every
one of you
effing one of you.
You can swear,
so
it's okay.
So this plays over the speakers, as a bunch of parents with little kids are sitting, waiting for
waiting to watch Ice Age,
animated film to start, The Lion King or something.
Yeah.
And there were complaints.
Oh, man, I'm sure.
So they did not come to the movies that day. They came to see Simba being lifted up off the cliff. They didn't come to hear.
You're going to get traumatized in a whole other way watching Lion King, though.
Well, that's true.
Oh, my gosh. And
that's hilarious.
So after uni, what was sort of your break into television?
Well, the great thing, it took a while, I would say, firstly. The great thing was that at uni, and I'd encourage anybody who's interested in getting into any sort of content making. When you're at uni, I mean, uni isn't just about your degree. Uni is about doing all of the extracurricular stuff that a uni offers. So we, at the uni I went to at Macquarie back in the day, there's a fantastic theatre group there. All extracurricular, just for fun, and absolutely found my tribe there. Absolutely had the opportunity to write heaps. We used to put on plays that we'd written. We'd put on comedy reviews. So all of that was a far better training ground, I think, than the actual degree itself.
Yeah.
And, cross paths with people that work in all sorts of different aspects of the industry. Because the other thing there is you're starting to make contacts because everyone else is up and coming. And as you're all coming up together, you're going to start to meet people that, are going to ascend through the industry with you. I found myself at a bit of an impasse going, how the hell do I get a job? I know I can do stuff. I like to write. I had a play that I actually put on at uni, got a season at a place called the Harold Park Hotel. That used to do comedy. Which is great.
Yeah.
Sort of got talent scouted, which is great.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Famous. Where Robin Williams famously did a surprise set there about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
We wasn't there that night.
Yeah. Your play got bumped. No, you bumped Robin Williams for your play.
Yeah.
He came
Get out of here,
you
Williams. Who are you?
And you were like,
He said nobody.
He's like, can I open for your play? You're like,
No, who are you?
I'll be in the play. I'll do a walk on. Sorry, buddy.
Come on.
Yeah, so I actually ended up through want of knowing what the hell else to do and not actually quite yet having any contacts or anything. I actually took a job in the head office of Greater Union Cinemas. So first in their marketing department, then in their programming department. And I ended up being there, from a mixture of just getting a bit too comfortable and probably a bit of fear about trying something different. I was there for 6 years in the end.
Wow.
And I should, it wasn't in any way creative. There was nothing creative about it. I was wearing a suit, and tie.
Bow
Wow.
tie,
You know,
even.
Were you wearing a bow tie?
the bow tie was
Still
thankfully,
made
but
you.
you know, I hated it.
Wear the bow
Yeah.
I
tie.
hated it.
Yeah. Just like a
But
corporate
met
job.
met some really good people, and
Yeah.
also actually started to learn about the back end of how,
Yeah.
you know, distribution and all that sort of, and also, much as it's icky to say it, just the concept that films in a commercial environment are treated as products.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, which was at one part like, oh, this is awful. They don't care whether it's some beautiful independently produced feature or whether it's the latest Jackie Chan action movie. They don't care.
Yeah.
All they care about is how many tickets they sell. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it was interesting insofar as learning about the industry, learning some corporate skills. And then in, again, I don't know. I mean, this is interesting. Towards the end of the year 2000, again, this is really only not even internet days here, guys. Used to have job ads in the newspaper. You'd open up the newspaper on a Saturday morning, and there would be all the job ads. There'd be the column that was media and entertainment, and I see this 2-column ad, Nickelodeon promo producer.
Oh, wow. In the
And
paper.
I should also say that meanwhile, while I was doing all the Greater Union head office stuff, I was
You were also
making my
highlighting the TV guide.
still highlighting the TV guys, but also
Alongside the
That was a
I was
busy.
actually-
That was a busy Saturday afternoon.
easy time.
Yeah.
I had actually started to make my own stop motion animation films because
Oh, no
digital
way.
technology had started to come along.
Cool.
Yeah.
Digital video cameras were available. Very early days of the Mac G4, which was one of the first. You know, it was a tower
Yeah.
computer, but you could actually edit.
Yeah.
It had 10 gigs of memory on it.
Wow.
Think of what you could, anyway, so I started to make little short films, stop motion animations, and yeah, then I saw this ad one day. I read it, looked at what was required, and I thought there was absolutely no way that I would ever be qualified for this. But I thought, what the hell? I actually called them up. I thought I could go have a chat. I was very, very lucky to chat that the creative director at the time, a wonderful, inspiring creative director called Christy Phelan, was kind enough to give me 20 minutes of her time and talk me through what they were looking for. Got to the end of the conversation, put the phone down. This is all again pre everyone having their own phones. That was all phone on the wall, and thought, well, there's no chance. There's absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
So what have I got to lose? And this was again before job applications were email.
Yeah.
This was before job applications were fill in this form online and submit. This was all physically send
Oh
in
my god!
Did
your
you fax
CV.
it?
Did you fax it or did you
in the
mail
mail.
it? You
Oh,
No, in the mail.
mail.
You posted
You
it.
mailed your resume in.
No
Yeah.
fax.
And I just thought, okay, so what the hell? Like I've got it, I'm not strictly qualified.
Yeah.
But what I can do is I can use this document as a pitch for why you should hire me. And I spent every minute that I had between when I saw the ad and the closing date to put together a CV, which was a completely made up life story of me.
Yeah.
Not made up as in faking my credentials, but made up as in like a ridiculous backstory
That's
of who
so
I was.
You're
Why
like,
I was
wow.
qualified, and it was like
Yeah,
it's
this
hot
is-
and visual and designed it
Like,
all,
was it?
and also
And it was obvious that you were doing a bit. Like you were.
Mm.
Yeah.
So the
That's
first
cool.
image in it was an image which I actually got from the archives at Greater Union Cinemas, because they used to have drive-ins as well, and I found this image of a 1950s drive-in.
Yeah.
And below the screen, there's all these people standing around. They're all in 50s clothing, and then there's this Shetland pony lying on its side. And on the Shetland pony, there's two guys just sitting on the Shetland pony. It's the weirdest image.
Using
You've
it
ever-
as a
if you just-
couch.
And I thought, okay, I'm gonna put that image on the first page of my application,
That's so good.
and I'm gonna say, I hope you'll consider me. I come from an entertainment background. This photograph is of my father and uncle, who were famous Shetland sitters.
Right.
And they would travel from town to town, entertaining people, sitting on Shetland ponies
Amazing.
for the masses.
So great.
And I just thought
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
they'll go, okay, this guy is out there. And I had a whole bunch of other stuff in there. And I included all my stop motion animation films I'd made, and I didn't have any sense that I was going to get an interview. And I got an interview. I got the call, but still I thought, no, they're never gonna seriously consider me. So I was actually super relaxed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would also say that at the
It's
time,
so much easier when you don't. Like you do so much better when
care.
you don't care. You know, when you're just
Well,
like,
yeah.
I'm not going to get this. Fuck it. You know.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
well, I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get it. I keep working in this cinema job. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was very relaxed, and actually because at the time we were in the middle back at Greater Union, we were in the middle of a really really tough negotiation with Disney. They had a film coming out which we didn't have a lot of faith in, and they did have a lot of faith in, and they were being bullish. I mean,
What was the movie?
fascinating. It might have been the re-release of Fantasia.
Oh, wow.
Which had
Great
done
movie.
pretty well in America. It had done like $50 million in America, but we were just like, no one wants to see this film. And
Yeah.
they were being, you know, I mean, it's an interesting thing, you know, as you get to work for some of these big entertainment companies, is just seeing the disparity between what they present
Yeah.
as, you know, the magical, wonderful place, but actually behind the scenes, the business side of it is ruthless.
Yeah,
like really
yeah.
ruthless.
Yeah.
And that was a real eye opener. And so I think at the time I was a little bit just feeling a bit, you know, kind of anti-Disney.
Yeah.
Love you, Disney, if you want to make a film of anything that I've created.
We'll tag Disney.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, so in this interview with, you know, the head creative at Nickelodeon, I was just like being pretty dissing towards Disney, and I saw her eyes light up, and she was like, because, yeah, they were the competition. That might have even been the thing, that just seeing how passionately against that
Did
you know,
she-
particular brand.
Did she ask you about the Shetland ponies? Did she go, so is that real?
No, she got it. She totally
got it.
got it,
Okay,
and she was
yeah.
like, "We just wanted to meet you."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and anyway, and then the next day I got a phone call. Hi, Mick, loved meeting you. How soon can you start?
Wow.
And you know, it was just so exciting. I put the phone down. I just went like,
Yeah.
what have I done? What have I've actually now got to do this.
Yeah. Terrifying.
And so I took a philosophy of, I'm just going to say yes to anything. I'm not going to show them that I'm shit scared. And incredible opportunities came out of that. And also because I'd had that 6 years of working in a mega conservative corporate environment, I had all these other skills that I could bring to the table as a producer that then complemented, you know, the writing and producing and directing skills. And it was a wild ride from there.
Man, that's awesome. That's
a great
crazy.
story.
You compare it to how I got the job, and I'm like, I didn't do any of
You
that.
just didn't wear your pants.
I
and
just didn't wear my
just
pants.
Put
I got in at
a
the right
stupid
time.
video on YouTube.
I put a stupid video on YouTube that blew up. That made MTV go, well, maybe you can make more of them. And then I had to do a video. You had to make a video for them as the interview task, and I brought it back, and they were like, well, I guess he was a one-time fluke then, huh?
It's a
'Cause
one-trick
that
pony.
was horrible. And then I got into Nickelodeon, and they were like, we
You
need
can't get rid of him now.
we have to just who cares? We have to. This job has to start. Just yes,
Yes.
that'll do.
Someone in there.
That was not the case at all. Danny was amazing, and he's amazing creative, and I'll always, always stand by my decision to hire him, no matter what everybody else says.
I don't care what anyone says, Danny. You were amazing at that job.
That's so funny. What were you going to ask?
Well, I just wanted to go back to your childhood a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a lot to unpack there.
yeah, there is. But mostly, did you have a I know you said you like playing with Legos, but did you have a favorite toy or a favorite doll?
Oh, so many, and your toys then were different because, you know, nowadays you can get a toy of anything, like, you know, and we're flooded with merchandise. But merchandise back then wasn't as big a thing. I mean, everyone knows the famous story about George Lucas and, you know, him keeping the merchandising rights to Star Wars and all of that stuff.
Smart
but back then,
idea.
it was,
Clever.
it was quite rare. Like there wasn't, you know, we had like, I think we had like a Batmobile. There was a thing called Stretch Armstrong, which is this like stretchy guy. It was just like this action figure, but he was made out of rubber and you could stretch him. Obviously Lego was huge. But I mean, one thing I definitely do remember is my elder brothers, we had this robot. It was like this battery operated robot.
Oh no.
Fun.
Black, about the size of a shoebox standing up. And it just had little lights that lit up on the front, but it had this recorded sound that it would make.
Oh,
This
yes.
little speaker. It would basically just go, oh, 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 oh.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And my brother, I was so freaked out by this thing. And there was nothing my brothers loved more
Messing
than
with
to
you.
just creep up on me, turn around, put it right in front of me, and I would just be like backing right up the back of the couch.
So mean.
Yeah. Oh, the worst.
Oh,
The worst.
Mick, did you ever get in? I feel like the answer is going to be no, but did you ever get in trouble at school?
Oh, yeah.
Did
Yeah,
you?
for sure.
Wow, were you
Yeah.
like a class clown?
I sort of tried to walk that line. I was a pretty good student generally, but I mean, I can tell you the biggest trouble I ever got into, and this has to
Yes.
do with creativity, and it has to do with what I do now as a living, as a writer and illustrator.
Oh God.
When I was in year 9,
Yeah.
I thought it would be hilarious to basically. So we had like a school diary, which was just what you had to do for homework that week, and everyone
Yeah.
had them.
Mhm.
I thought it would be hilarious to self-commission a series of cartoon portraits of the teaching staff
Great.
in my mates and they were pretty good. Like I would spend like entire periods at
When you were
school
supposed to be
drawing
listening.
them, coloring, full color. Now,
Amazing.
I mean, look, the only thing I would say was one of the hardest things to draw in terms of drawing people are clothes.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, because you get all the folds
Yeah,
and all the
okay.
so
Yeah.
and I'm quite good at drawing things that are like organic, and so I thought, well, it's
no.
it's gonna,
Oh no! Just go
it's-
Make it.
it's gonna be a series of nudes
Oh,
in
no.
that case.
Nudes of the teachers.
And I bet you were very complimentary to all their bodies.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so and guys, I still feel Catholic shame about this, but suffice to say,
Yeah.
the diary was found.
Who found it? How?
And not on, well, it was found because my friend, who shall remain nameless,
Yeah.
who was sitting next to me, thought that the best way to keep these amazing portraits to ourselves
Yeah.
would be to leave the homework diary open on his desk during a class which was might have even been religion, taught by the school disciplinarian, one of the DLSL brothers, who saw it and said to my friend, "Oh, did you draw this?" And he went, "No."
Mickey.
Michael did. That was Michael.
Your
and
name's
yeah,
Michael?
What did you think it was?
Is your name actually
How
Michael?
long have you known each other?
oh come on, Daniel.
Yeah.
I
He
just
knows that you're
never.
Daniel.
That's just never clicked that your name's Michael.
What do you think it was?
I thought it was
McKellen.
Or you-
thought it was Mick.
McKellen.
Wow.
Look, that's
Mickelson.
interesting. I mean, I rebranded as Mick when I joined Nickelodeon. So
Yeah.
I
Is
was
that
always
true?
Michael until then.
Nick, Mick.
Before
That
then, you
makes
were
so
always
much sense.
Michael? Michael. Oh my gosh. I don't know why
Only my
that's.
mum calls me that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense now. It's dumb that I'm like, what?
Yeah, I
But-
know. I
Not
don't
at
know
all.
why you're
Not at
so
all. So,
surprised.
Yeah.
Look,
Sorry.
suffice to say that was the worst trouble I ever
Yeah.
got into. This particular disciplinarian was just a master at making students just like really be,
Fear for their
on the
life.
nice edge.
Yeah.
So he drew that whole thing out. He said, "I'm not going to do anything about this today.
Ooh.
We're going to talk about this tomorrow."
No,
Oh,
that's
So
not.
you can-
already,
You can,
I've got a
you
whole
can
night of hell.
You can stew on it for a whole
Oh,
day.
yeah,
Did
yeah,
you,
yeah,
Mick,
yeah.
when you were in school, did they have the cane?
Mm.
Because they had it.
Mm.
Yeah, because the cane was, I didn't realize this, but only after talking to Matt, but it was like, it wasn't gone that long before we
got to
started.
school.
Yeah, it was
No.
only a couple of years before we started school that they took the cane out,
Wow.
which is
Yeah.
why I think teachers were still a bit, like they were still ragey. 'Cause they
Yeah,
were like,
yeah.
oh, I used to be
Oh,
able
yeah.
to hit you.
I can't hit you
Now
anymore.
I can't
Yeah.
hit you anymore.
Well, in fact, so so I was in year 9 when that particular issue happened with
yeah.
my creative expression. And literally years 7 and 8, they still had the cane. And
Yeah.
in fact, I remember distinctly that the teacher who was calling me out and butchering me, verbally and mentally, basically said, as he's reprimanding me, saying, "Well, I regret that we aren't allowed to cane you anymore." They literally said it. So,
He
so
fully
what
just
you really
came
want out
out
of
with
this
it.
is to hit a child.
Oh, I
Bit of a-
wish I could
Essentially.
beat the shit out of you, Michael.
Oh, but alas, I
basically-
can't.
That is crazy.
Just know that in my head I'm doing it.
That's so. I'm sitting
Yeah.
there going, oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I would say, just to wrap that particular story up. So what ended up being the outcome of it? Obviously, I got in trouble, and I actually went straight home and told my mum. My mum was solid, and I just went home and said, "Mum, this has happened." My mum was super cool about it.
Yeah.
She'd raised 3 boys.
Yeah.
You know, she was great. She was
Yeah.
so good. And so I already had that. I already knew my mum's not going to freak out. I've told her. So when the next day when I
Got
was called to
ahead
the
of it.
office, it's like, well, I don't want to think what your mum would think if I told her about this.
why don't we
And I
ask
went,
her?
well,
Call her
I've
up.
already told
Call
her.
her up. Be my guest.
Checkmate.
That was smart. That's a
Very
smart
smart.
move.
Yeah, so good.
So get on the front foot. Yeah, but what then basically did, because I'd drawn about 20 pictures, he literally just slowly turned the page, looked at each picture, looked up at me, shook his head. And got to the end and basically went, in all my years of teaching, and this guy was pretty old, he would have been in his 60s, I have never seen any student draw anything as disgusting as what you've drawn
Wow.
on these pages.
It's just a
And-
nude body.
I know, but also there's no like, oh, this is pretty good. Michael, actually,
No.
you are a pretty good drawer.
I know. I mean, I thought that was
Yeah.
deeply unfair to the teachers in the drawings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For a
much
start,
so.
but also to be honest, it was my first experience getting critical feedback on my creative work. So it was a great skill. It was great learning because let me tell you, I was going to get much harsher feedback on stuff I did creatively later in life. So.
Developed your thick skin early.
Did you have a best friend in primary school? And I'm also very interested to hear if you had like who your first crush was.
Oh well, look, I'm not going to name names.
No, definitely
don't have to name
because
names.
I'm going to let them have their anonymity.
That's fair,
But
yeah.
yeah, definitely had a crush, and
Yeah.
it was really interesting. So there was a girl that I was, like a sort of boyfriend to in like
Yeah.
year 2, 3 kind of thing, and we would go over each other's places. But it was that lovely sort of when you're 7 years old,
Yeah.
and we're going to hold hands now, and that sort of thing. It was lovely. But then I remember.
Lovely.
As you go through that emotional development and suddenly as a boy you hit sort of a little bit older,
Yeah.
you're like, girls, and you go to that stage, which I think most boys do, where you're like, no, I'm a boy and I don't want girls are yuck.
Yeah.
But I'd reached that stage, and then one night at home, I get this phone call, mum gets a phone call from the girl's mum saying, "Oh, she wants to ask if you want to come over," and I freaked out. So like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. That's yuck.
Oh,
And,
wow.
you know.
Was it self-conscious around what other people are going to think?
I don't know. I think it's a sort of thing that boys. There's a period of life that boys go through where they're just like, "No, I'm a boy and I like boy things, and girls are yuck." And,
It's so funny. This is a bit of a sidebar, but I'll never forget one thing that I do remember when we were working at Nickelodeon and we were auditioning kids for Slime Cup. And so you'd come on, they'd get all excited. These kids would be so excited to come in. They'd be in the line, they'd be screaming and all of this stuff. But it was, and I think it was particularly girls. And I remember you warning us about this, but it was like girls from like 11, 12, that's when they become really self-conscious. So like as soon as we got them in front of the camera, they'd freeze up. You know, they'd be like, oh crap, this is going on TV. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas like boys, it was like, yeah, whatever, you know? But it's like, it's like that mental shift. Because you'd see it and you'd see a girl. I remember there was even a team where like one of the girls was a year younger and she was all like, yeah. But then her little friend that was a year older was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you
It's-
start to worry. It's that awful thing that happens, which stays with us for a lot of life. When you hit high school,
Yeah.
when you start to really care about the opinion of your peers,
Yeah.
you start to see yourself through the eyes of others. When I see it when I'm out doing author talks and doing writing workshops and doing illustration workshops. I generally, I've got books that are for kindergarten through to year 2, picture books, and I've got books that are for years 3s and 4s, and then books that are for year 5, 6, 7. And you see the whole range of emotional development there, but you definitely see, particularly if I'm giving talks towards the end of the school year, if I'm giving a talk to a year 6 class, there are some kids that have already emotionally transitioned, and you can just see where like a year 3 or 4 student, they're willing to hear everything, and they'll cheer along, and they'll interact. And then you get towards the end of year 6, and they're sort of hitting 12, 13, and they're just a bit more like, no, the veneer has gone up.
Yeah.
I'm self-conscious. I'm worried about what the person. I don't want to look uncool.
Yeah.
And then once you get into high school, that becomes even more, and it's sometimes it never comes back. Sometimes you spend the rest of your life worrying about what everyone else thinks.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's a sad thing.
I know. The other question that we always ask, we'll wrap up soon, but we always ask if there's any particularly memorable birthday party you had.
A memorable birthday party.
Yeah.
Or
it was a friend's birthday parties. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, many. I mean, because my birthday's in March, which is always like the sort of crossover of seasons.
Yeah.
So we were lucky enough in our at our house to have a pool. We had a backyard, just a regular suburban backyard pool. And I always remember thinking, oh, it's great. We'll have a pool party. It'll be amazing. And then by the time it got to my birthday, it was like grey and cold. And everyone would come over and go, it's too cold to swim. Yeah, well, I mean, I do remember, this is more of a high school one. And so there was a mid-'80s show, classic mid-'80s show called Miami Vice.
Oh, yeah.
And it was made into a movie about 20 years ago. So it's set in Miami. Yeah. It's the most 80s thing you can possibly see. These two cops who are busting all the drug gangs. And they wear like these pastel suits and T-shirts underneath and loafers. And it's the most 80s thing. It's like all of the 80s have been distilled down to its purest form in the show. Don Johnson was one of the leads in it.
Remake, and it was Jamie Foxx.
Oh.
Yeah.
In the remake, in the movie.
Yeah.
Classic 80s series, probably highly problematic if you were to go back to it now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, had this mate at school who just loved Miami Vice. And so my mates and I decided that we were going to hold a surprise Miami Vice party for him at his house. Yes. And we knew he got the school bus that was going to take, about 45 minutes to get there. So we must have been like year 11 by this point. All basically decked ourselves out in Miami Vice clothes and got to his house first, and then basically had like the soundtrack.
He didn't tell or warn his mum. Like, we're having a party. Move.
His mum was in on it all. Had the soundtrack title to Miami Vice, and the second his key turned in the front door, we put on the Miami Vice soundtrack at full blast. So he walks in, and we all just like busted it. It's like the Miami Vice characters, and it was brilliant. I mean, we used to get up to crazy stuff like that. It was the best.
Oh
so
man,
fun.
that's crazy.
Was he very surprised?
I think if you're coming home from school and suddenly you see a whole lot of people cosplaying Miami Vice in your lounge room,
jumping on
and
you,
telling you to get down. Get down, narc. You're probably going to be surprised.
That's a really nice thing to do.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
We need to do more things.
Yeah, we used to
like
love
that.
all that stuff.
Yeah, I never had a surprise party.
No, neither did I.
All right, well, we'll throw one for each other. Do you have any other questions, Maddie? We always ask about embarrassing stories as well.
I do usually ask this question to guests. It's putting you on the spot a bit, but do you have any stories that you, like memorable stories you remember from your childhood that you kind of still tell today?
I mean, how long have you got?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, I would say one which I've never forgotten, and it's an important one as someone that, has worked as a producer and as a writer, which is about knowing your audience and reading the room. And you guys would know this well, both with your podcast and as performers, and Danny, in terms of stand-up. It's just knowing your audience and ensuring that your bit is right for the audience and the timing on it is right.
I'm already excited.
I learned that the hard way. So my beautiful mum, as I mentioned earlier, she was a nurse. She would often work the night shift.
Yeah.
So she'd work all night, and she would get home sometimes just as we were getting ready for school.
Oh wow!
So she's been on her feet all night. She's working during the night. She's tired. Anyway, I thought one day, what might be hilarious, and I thought Mum will love this. I'm going to go to the cupboard and I'm going to get the tomato sauce.
Oh no!
And I'm going to pour tomato sauce all over my legs. And then I'm going to wait to hear her car. And just as she's pulling into the driveway, I'm going to come running out the front, burst out the front door, screaming and pointing at my legs.
Oh, no.
And so I did. I hear the car. I've sprayed the tomato sauce all over my legs, or ketchup all over my legs. It's flowing down. It looks like, I've been stabbed 9 times in each leg. I come running out into the front yard. A car's pulling in, and she puts on the brake, and I'm like, I'm like throwing myself on the ground, and then she runs over, and I'm like, the weird thing was she didn't find it funny at all.
That's weird. I don't know.
She
Did you
thought
get
actually
in
it
trouble?
was the opposite of funny.
Yeah.
Oh, your poor mum.
And her response was, "Don't you ever do that again."
Yeah.
That's so
I
cool.
really I learned a good lesson about performing and just knowing your audience. Reading the room, thinking about, is the material appropriate
Yeah.
for this audience.
So mean.
So
Your
we-
poor mum.
Yeah, your poor mum.
She's at a hospital all night. She hasn't slept.
Traumatized.
She walks
Were you expecting her to laugh?
Yeah, expecting
I thought she would, again, and I've had this problem a few times where I sometimes think the joke is obvious. I sometimes think it's clear this is a joke. And you always take a swing with anything comedic. You're always like, okay, well, I'm going to take a bit of a swing here. Hopefully the audience will get it. In that case, the tailored audience of one, my mum, actually didn't get it. And thought it was in the poorest possible taste.
I was surprised she didn't stab you in
You
retaliation.
bombed with your mum.
I bombed.
Just cut
did.
his legs off. Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
so don't
Mick-
do that.
Mick-
Don't do that if
No,
you're learning comedy.
don't do that.
Thank you so much for coming on. Now, we want to plug a bunch of your stuff. Mick, you're a children's author. You've written so many books. I believe one has just come out.
Yes.
Yes.
So I've just had my 13th book for kids come out. It is a
Wow,
graphic
mate.
novel,
It's
just in
amazing.
time for the FIFA World Cup.
Studio audience.
It is about a football team in space. It's called Uranus FC, the greatest goal in the galaxy.
Yes.
It is
love it
about
so
a
much.
football team 700 years in the future, group of kids who end up having to play in an intergalactic football competition. And it's a full graphic novel, very much inspired by,
Wow.
Dogman and Captain Underpants and Bad Guys
Amazing.
and those sort of. And it's the first in a series. It's just come out. And I hate blowing my own horn. I find it really, really hard doing all the sales
I
stuff.
do too.
But
No, blow it.
Blow it.
I was just at the Sydney Writers Festival last week, which was great. And this was not only the highest selling book at the festival, but was actually, we broke the record for the highest selling book of all time at the Sydney Writers Festival.
I can't,
And here it is.
I can't stop this studio audience. They keep going and going and going.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So
dude.
only out in Australia and New Zealand so far, but hopefully coming soon in other countries around the world.
Well, we've
Love
got
football.
a bit of an listenership in the
amazing.
US. So, have you got other books that are available that people from in the US could get? Have you
Well,
got a
look,
website? You got a website?
Everything's available from Jeff Bezos' playground, isn't it? I'll tell you what was really wonderful was that one of the other authors on the program at the Sydney Writers Festival was none other than Dave Pilkey, the creator of Captain Underpants.
Oh wow!
And Dogman. He was incredible. He was
Wow.
humble. He was
Wow.
generous. He was really approachable. The kids went absolutely crazy for him.
Yeah.
I had the most surreal moment of my
Yeah.
entire career, which was being backstage. I was the host of these sessions, and I was actually introducing Dave Pilkey. I'm backstage with him and the lovely people that he was with. Said, "Oh, tell us about your book and what is it and what's it about?" And I went and grabbed a copy, handed it to him, and said, "Yeah, you can have it." And he was like, "Can I have this?" I'm like,
Aw.
yes. and then I kid you not, Dave Pilkey, multi-million best-selling author of Captain Underpants and Dogman, says to me, "Mick, would it be okay if you signed that for me?"
Oh, bless him.
Oh my God. And I talk about surreal moments. It was the best.
Wow.
And
So he was familiar with your stuff.
yeah, and then he's like, well, from looking at it, he was
Yeah.
like, "This looks great." And then he's looking through the book. "Oh, I love this. It looks so great."
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Man, that's
I just think
awesome.
someone like him, he would be well within his right to just, go off in his own green room and not in, but he was fully, not just for me, but with all the other Australian authors there, was being so generous and so curious. He gave so much time to every kid in the audience who wanted to meet him. And
That's
I was
awesome,
like,
man.
wow, that's what you want to see. That's, when you meet your heroes,
Yeah.
you want to see that they're lovely and down to earth and open-hearted, and yeah, could not have been
Cool.
a nicer experience. So that was cool.
What a cool moment.
This button's really come in handy this episode.
You're enjoying that button. Congratulations, Mick.
Well, people can find you where, Mick?
Look, if you Google Mick Elliot with 2 L's and 2 T's, hopefully once you get through the AI blah, you will find yourself at my website, which is just mickelliot.me.
Yeah.
I am on just on Instagram. I don't really do a lot of other social media, but you'll find me on Instagram as What Mick Saw. But just look up Mick Elliot.
Yeah.
You'll find me and see some of the shenanigans I get up to these days.
Awesome. And please go and buy Mick's books because they're really great. And I want to say, Mick, thank you for everything you've done for me. You've given me so much. It sounds like we're saying goodbye forever. We're not. But you have given me so much support and love and guidance over the years. And I'm sorry. I literally every time I call Mick, I start by apologizing because I'm just like stealing more of his time, just being like, okay, Mick, I need your help with this thing. And he's just always so giving and nice, and I appreciate it.
That is super generous, Danny. And look, I love being part of a creative community, and I love people who just want to make stuff and who are putting the passion and the time into it. So, yeah, I think that's the least that we can do as people who are making creative things, is to help each other out and give help and guidance and help each other get their projects further along in any way that we can. So that's a delight.
Awesome.